It wouldn't be an Omega 3 remix if they didn't screw around with the time signature here and there. Hey everyone, my name is Christoph Jakob, I'm a music composer for video games, and today let's check out more Splatoon 3 music. Big Run, one of my personally most anticipated announcements regarding Splatoon 3, has finally happened last week. I totally didn't play for like 8 hours on Sunday alone. It was more like 10. We also got a new music track, or multiple to be more precise. So, let's talk about the new music that has been added. I've been wanting to make this video right after Big Run was over, but I got sick, and as you can probably still hear from my voice, I still haven't fully recovered yet, but I feel good enough to record this video now. It sounds so silly. So many voice samples. Perfectly captures the typical Salmon Run vibes. Yeah, this is me right now. As you can hear, Omega 3, the in-game band responsible for all the Salmon Run music, now seem to have taken over completely. I couldn't help but spoil myself already on their remix of Clickbait, that I'm also gonna talk about in a moment. I didn't expect to also hear an Omega 3 styled rearrangement of the news theme. I love how this tune starts with that horn, fanfare, siren thingy. Is there a proper term for that? Which you usually hear whenever a boss salmonid appears in Salmon Run. We get to hear that boom sample that played a prominent role in the first phase of the final boss tune from Splatoon 3's single-player campaign, pretty much throughout the entire tune. There are a couple of samples mixed into, or almost just dragged and dropped into this tune from Splatoon 2's and Splatoon 3's Salmon Run lobby music. Like the distorted Mr. Grizz laugh. I have to admit I actually didn't know that this was supposed to be a laugh at first, before I saw a YouTube comment that pointed out that this is in fact supposed to be Mr. Grizz laughing. At around 11 and 27 seconds, you can hear that vocal thingy that was the most prominent ingredient in Splatoon 2's lobby theme on your left ear. Bow, 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 bow. My favorite sample though, that I think we haven't heard at all up to this point, has to be this little yeah yell though. The instrumentation as a whole is obviously very reminiscent of Salmon Run music, though I found it interesting at first that there's neither a cello nor a timpani in there, the two most important instruments in pretty much any song by Omega 3. It does make sense though. I think neither of these two instruments have ever appeared in any sort of lobby theme. Overall, I think you can say that this rearrangement does a great job at conveying both a sense of seriousness, but also a great amount of silliness. The main reason why I'm calling this a rearrangement rather than a remix is because it doesn't really change the structure of the original. And I think that's the main difference between a rearrangement and a remix. But, yeah. Ooh. I mean, you instantly hear that it's meant to be clickbait. It actually sounds quite threatening to me. Sounds very lonely and desperate. I love the timpani. Something is coming. Oh. That was awesome. Reminded me a little of Twilight Princess. This used to sound so happy and cheerful. Nice. While the previous tune didn't have a cello and timpani, this tune here has pretty much nothing but those two instruments, as well as some background synths. Now, the very first thing that came to mind for me when I first heard this was, am I a squid now? Am I a kid now? Or am I an armed worm throwing a holy hand grenade at my enemies now? Considering Worms often takes place in post-apocalyptic landscapes and has very similar music to this as well, I think it's safe to say that this solo cello performance of Clickbait is a nice fit for the in-game circumstances. Personally though, I think it could have been even more effective if it also played in the game's main hub, and not just in the Salmon Run lobby. Really interesting how they managed to make an upbeat and cheerful battle theme sound like impending doom. I know that the cello is meant to be the star of this performance, but I think it wouldn't even be half as creepy without those distorted synths that are constantly in the background, which honestly remind me a little of Zelda Twilight Princess, in the best ways possible. I want to listen to that again. That was such an awesome intro. I want to hear that again. Oh, the time signature is different. It used to be 3/4 or 6/8. Which makes this entire tune so much more chaotic. Omega 3's remix of Clickbait is pretty much exactly what I was hoping for. A broken sounding, chaotic variation of the original, using the instruments typically associated with Salmon Run music. Yet I do love how they still manage to avert expectations to a degree. In the original, the main riff is played by electric guitars and an electric bass. Now, since the cello occupies similar frequencies to a guitar, which instrument do you think they chose to replace the guitars for this version? That's right. That timpani and squeaky, squirky synths. Nice. It's worth mentioning that it wouldn't be an Omega 3 remix if they didn't screw around with the time signature here and there. Deluge Dirge is in a 7/4 time signature. Fishing Frenzy is mostly in a 31/16 time signature, which is really difficult to count. Frantic Aspic starts in a 7/8 time signature, quickly moves to a 5/4 time signature, and around 12 seconds it... Chaos Carnival, or whatever the official name is gonna be, switches time signature every 2 to 3 seconds, pretty much just adding another 1/8 note per bar. King Salmonid's theme is probably the most normal tune out of all of them, at least regarding time signatures, because everything else is completely chaotic and... So obviously their remix of Clickbait can't stay like in the original, which would be a regular 4/4 time signature. Let's take a quick listen to the original again and just count. And then let's try to do the same for the Omega 3 remix. Excluding the intro, we're now in a very fast 6/8 time signature. You could also just count it as a 3/4 time signature. But simply put, we're missing a beat now. It's more or less turned into a waltz. Everything that previously fit into 4 beats now has to fit into only 3 beats. And that's probably the main reason why this remix may sound so chaotic to us at first. Apart from that, it's actually quite close to the original. The instruments and their roles are completely different though. The melody and the harmony, honestly, barely changed at all. So far it's pretty close to the original though. The remix is now introducing some more uniqueness and freshness, while still staying pretty close to the original. The cello is starting to take over the spotlight now though, as it plays those long held out notes, which to me sound a little like a desperate lament, especially in combination with that stepwise fall, followed by that stepwise rise. Oh, time signature change. I love Omega 3 so much. While the entire tune had been in a 6/8 or 3/4 time signature until now, the climax section is actually in a regular 4/4 time signature now. If you pay close attention, you can in fact hear the original melody subtly playing in the background. It's a little hard to hear because the cello and the timpani are going absolutely insane now. The cello especially is pushing itself to the front so much, like with literal elbows knocking down the original band members going, "No, screw you, this is my song now." I think it's kind of pointless to analyze what the cello is playing. It's pretty much just playing whatever here, since it's the focus of attention now. The climax part of the originals sounded something like this. And so on. What is Omega 3 doing here though? We get to hear the exact same melody in the background, yet the cello is pushing itself into the foreground and plays something that's hard to analyze. Sounds like this. Chaotic. I personally really hope that we'll get to hear more Omega 3 styled rearrangements or remixes of already existing tunes in the future. And I honestly wouldn't be surprised if we got to hear more fan-made Omega 3 styled rearrangements here on YouTube as well. It's just such a fun idea. Thanks for watching. This channel has actually reached 3,000 subscribers recently, which is honestly more than I ever expected. So the next video will be a little Q&A. I've never done this before, so it's hopefully gonna be fun. If you have any questions about myself, music, Splatoon, or anything really, feel free to let me know in the comments below. For more reaction and analysis kind of videos, you can click here. For my own little Splatoon-inspired album, you can click here. And if you'd like to check out the soundtrack I've written for Revita, a game I still highly recommend, totally not biased or anything, you can click here. See you next time.